We'll start off with a deciding Congress of the NDC, and police in the Ashanti region are warning delegates and supporters of the National Democratic Congress against any acts of lawlessness at Saturday's Congress in Kumasi. Regional Commander DCOP Kofi Boachi says troublemakers will be made to face the full rigors of the law.
The NDC Congress to elect nation officers is slated for the Baba Yara Stadium in Kumasi on Saturday. Police say, though it is an internal election, the large number of delegates due to converge in Kumasi makes security paramount. Besides the venue for the Congress, police would also provide security at hotels and other vantage points of the city. Arrangements have also been made for patrol teams to monitor the situation in and around the stadium area to ensure incident-free event. DCOP Kofi Boachi wants delegates to be law-abiding whilst observing party's rules for the Congress.
We continue to advise hotel managers to to be conscious of their bookkeeping, documentation, to make sure that people who come there are well documented, people who sleep in their hotels, because we have instances where some unscrupulous people go and book in a hotel knowing that there are a lot of visitors there and rob them.
He advises hotel managers to be alert and keep proper records of their guests during the Congress. The police commander assures residents of police protection during the Christmas festivities, but he urges members of the public to be vigilant in order not to fall prey to criminals.
And all the laws are being enforced, and people should not say that because it's a political party activity, they can do whatever they like. No. All the laws of the country are still enforceable. This is a Congress. You come, you do what you are supposed to do, and go. But if you can't find yourself in problem in Kumasi, the law will take its course.
Mahmoud Mohammed Nuruddin's report for Joy News.
Later. Metropolitan, municipal and district assemblies have been urged to fully comply with the service delivery standards instituted to ensure quality delivery at the various MMDAs across the country. The head of local government service, Dr. Kalistus Mohammed, said the various MMDAs owe the public that duty as they pay from the tax from the taxpayers' money.
Established in 2003, the Local Government Service is to secure effective administration and management of local governments in the country. There has always been an issue as far as value for money in the public sector is concerned. To fix the situation, the head of Local Government Service, Dr. Kalistus Mohammed, says there is the need for public officials to comply with the service delivery standards to give clients value for money.
These are the standards that we are using to measure our staff. If any staff does not follow these standards, if any assembly or regional coordinating does not follow these standards, then they have a case to answer. Because as far as we are concerned, the law says that these standards should be put in place. We have put the standards in place, and we expect not less than full compliance. And that's what we are going to insist coming from 2015 onwards.
The technical assistance needed to be provided by local government for quality service has undoubtedly not been optimized, hence poor service delivery at the local government level. The head of local government service believes punitive measures must be in place to deter people from delivering poor services to clients.
There are punitive measures that we have put in place. Any staff who renders a service that falls below the standards that we have indicated will be sanctioned. There are different types of sanctions, but the most important thing is that because standards have been put in place to improve service delivery, it means that that staff has not rendered that service. So technically speaking, what it means is that he's not performing his job at the district assembly there. And if you're not performing your job at the district assembly, the sanctions could range from, let's say, suspension, even outright dismissal.
The service delivery standards are also goals the local government service has set as a yardstick for measuring and evaluating performance at the local level. To achieve the optimum, it is pivotal to have full compliance of the standards. Latif Idris, Joy News, Accra.
The Institute for Democratic Governance, in collaboration with an Accra-based law firm, Thursday organized a forum on the theme, the role of constitutional reforms in consolidating peace, stability and national cohesion. Personalities who made presentations included Emeritus Professor Samuel Otu Jando, Senior Partner Jando Asma and Co., Emeritus Professor Kwame Ninsen, Scholar in Residence, Institute for Democratic Governance, and Professor John Griffiths, a Fulbright Professor, formerly of University of Groningen, the Netherlands. Yeah, excerpts of their presentation.
The 1992 Constitution was influenced by a history of political instability, creeping politicization of ethnicity, human rights abuses, and deepening economic and development crisis. By the beginning of the 1990s, the nation, I would say, was at a crossroads, and the entire nation-building project was in crisis. The purpose of the various provisions of the 1992 Constitution was therefore to respond to these multiple crises. That is, preserve the nation and the rights of its citizens, create a centerpiece around which the nation's energies could be mobilized for a just and equitable development. And therefore, its preparation entailed a dispassionate search for institutions that would regenerate and inspire the nation towards higher goals in the nation-building process. Among the many creations that would shoulder the burden of rebuilding the nation are the executive and the electoral system. These two institutions were designed to enable the nation to periodically celebrate its unity and strength, as well as build consensus and chart common path into a future of progress and prosperity for all. I wish to discuss the aspirations that underpin these two institutions and deal briefly with the politics that has surrounded them sometime after the Constitution came into force. I will then show how certain perversions in the political practice of the country, quite unanticipated though, have rather deepened the crisis of nation building beyond the imagination.
Well, I think I'll go ahead and say this, even though my extremely learned friend and colleague, Sam Jando, I know is of a different opinion, but I'm an outsider. I don't have to live with the results of whatever might happen with anything I say, so I'll go ahead and say it anyway. Running some risk, I'll try and skirt the risk of offending the Supreme Court. There's a proposal to let the Supreme Court decide what to do with the various controversies surrounding the amendment procedure. But why? If every member of Parliament can introduce a bill at any time containing some or all or even more than the existing proposals, it's in the hands of Parliament to deal with the problems that have arisen. Every member of Parliament can deal with it. You can adopt either the President's proposals or some other, introduce them in Parliament and have the normal amendment procedure go ahead. If I were a member of the Supreme Court, which, thank to God, I am not, I think I might decline to let myself be used to compensate for Parliament's failure to do its job. Second, the two-party system. This is something I was completely unaware of before coming to Ghana, and I want to emphasize again how limited my knowledge is. I came to Ghana 1 week ago. So what I'm saying now is based on discussions with knowledgeable, good people, but still only with a very few people. There would seem to me to be a number of possibilities to increase political competition and to require more cooperation and compromise between the various political parties.
Well, let's talk about the NDC Congress now. Programs Officer at the Center for Democratic Development, Ghana, Abrampa Mensah, was on news this earlier with his thoughts on events preceding the National Delegates Congress tomorrow.
Challenges to the system. One, we're not able to elect competent people that we expect to steer affairs. So don't forget, some of these people that we are electing as party executives today, when the party retains power, there are some of the people who continuously hold affairs, and maybe, as we see in our country now, they are appointed to head boards of institutions in our country, taking major decisions affecting lives of ordinary people on the street. So it's important we demonetize the system, the process, and have people elected based on what people see as being competent and people who can steer better affairs when elected or appointed to positions. That's the lessons learned. The NDC is a party that should have so many lessons to learn from some of these things. One, from single-handedly holding somebody's hand to become a president. We all saw what happened, the division that came into the party for other people forming their own political parties. We all saw the fallout of the Petroleum that a party cropped up of the same party. We all saw some of the allegations that Nana Rollins labeled after the NDC Congress that resulted in her forming her own political party. So in all the political parties, you also know what happened in the era of Victor Osu, in the MTP era. So all the political parties in the country have good lessons and history to learn from, so as to stop some of these things when it comes to internal organization.
You're still here on News Today. Now, mobile voice subscription figures recorded a 6.81% cumulative growth for the first 10 months of this year to reach nearly 30 million. National Communication Authority data has shown that between January and October this year, mobile network operators added a little above 1.57 million new voice lines to their networks as they prepare for slowing growth and a renewed focus on customer retention and value-added services. According to the latest NCA figures, the total mobile voice subscription number as of October is more than 29.99 million and is believed to have surpassed the 30 million mark in November. The October figure puts mobile voice penetration rate at 114%, making Ghana one of the few African countries with mobile voice adoption rates surpassing the 100% mark. Well, unemployment in Ghana makes livelihoods of many Ghanaians, especially the youth, impossible. Some of these young ones have great dreams but do not know how to actualize them. It is the reason the African Entrepreneurship Academy is offering a platform to empower such people with exquisite expertise.
The conference, which brought together people from all walks of life, sought to find ways of addressing unemployment in Ghana. It was also aimed at inculcating the spirit of entrepreneurship in both the young and old. Representatives from some microfinancial institutions were present to share their entrepreneurial experiences. Board Chairman of African Entrepreneurship Academy, Roberto Annan Kwame, emphasized how prudent it is to train entrepreneurs in the country, indicating people usually lack practical experience after school.
We found out that majority of the businessmen in Ghana are not well trained. That is why we have positioned ourselves, because majority are coming from school, they get the educational theoretical training, but with the entrepreneurship, the principles, they don't have it at their fingertips. And that is the missing gap. And that is what we are trying to do in Ghana, to let them, our students know that with this in their hand, they'll be able to make it true.
Founder and president of the group, Wilson Senya, said 400 students have so far been trained with requisite skills and are doing remarkably well in their various fields.
We've been doing this over the past 4 years, and over the past 4 years we've graduated almost 400 entrepreneurs or SME owners across the country, and from neighboring countries as well.
Some past students spoke to Joy News.
I've been attending when they started the program first about 2-3 years ago. I attend all the seminars, but later on, even though I myself am a lecturer, I decided to be part of the discipline. I became a student. I left my job and became a student because I wanted to establish my own business. And seeing how things went on, I'm really satisfied because even though I attended other schools to preparing me to set up my own business, this one was more motivational.
First, how to manage my money and how to even relate to my customers. But through this course, I'm able to manage all.
Ghana has begun processing gas from its offshore Jubilee oil fields through a pipeline project that could save government some $300 million a year on fuel costs, even with the current steep drop in oil prices. State-owned Ghana Gas said the Atwabo gas plant is supplying 50 million cubic feet of gas per day to nearby thermal power generators operated by the Volta River Authority Power Utility in the western regional town of Abuaze. It has also produced 3,000 tons of liquefied petroleum gas and condensate as byproducts. The project, financed by a loan from the Chinese Development Bank and delayed for several months, aims to ramp up production to 150 million cubic feet by the end of December. 2 more gas fields are expected to come on stream by 2017 to add to the Jubilee oil fields, which is operated by British firm Tullow Oil. Government is in talks with the Qatari government for the supply of natural gas, while there are other private investments underway, including a planned production by Italian energy firm Eni from the offshore Cape 3 Points block beginning 2017. We'll stay on energy. The Africa Center for Energy Policy is pushing for a review of the petroleum local content and local participation regulations. According to the center, the current regulation, which gives the sector minister discretionary powers to choose locals who qualify to participate in the oil and gas industry, is subject to abuse and may encourage corruption in the industry.
ASAP, in launching its report on a comparative analysis of the local content development in the petroleum upstream sector of Ghana, Nigeria and Angola, revealed the loopholes in Ghana's local content regulations LI 2204. The center says the LI, which gives the petroleum minister the power to decide on persons who qualify to hold minimum equity in the sector, is a recipe for abuse.
Regulation 4 of the local content regulation gives the minister, in fact, requires that a minimum of 5% of every petroleum contract or license should be held by indigenous Ghanaian people or firms. But sub-regulation 4 gives the minister the power to decide persons who qualify to hold that minimum equity. That is problematic. Because if there is no clear criteria, publicly available criteria, that will seek to guide
the determination of who qualifies to hold a petroleum license or equity in a petroleum license, then this is too prone to abuse. Why do you think that the minister will not seek it, use it to perpetuate the interests of his friends, his cohorts, his functionaries, or supporters of his political party?
Executive Director of the Center, Dr. Amin Adam, further explains the Exploration and Production Bill 2014, currently before Parliament, equally gives room for corruption to thrive.
The bill does not provide for the disclosure of beneficial owners, the true owners, the true directors of oil companies we are dealing with. What you see are the local directors, but the true owners are, at large in secret jurisdictions. We think that if the bill is passed into law in its current form, what we are seeking to avoid and to make Ghana an example of a country that can govern its oil and gas resources well will not be achieved.
ASEP wants Parliament to take a critical look at the EMP bill and the LI on local content for the revision to safeguard the oil and gas industry. Abigail Adamakunchi for Joy News.
UN Secretary General Ban Ki-moon has hailed Ghana's role, which has enabled the international community's ability to respond faster to the Ebola crisis. He said the UN is committed to helping the 3 countries worst affected by Ebola.
As you said, Mali was also affected, but with a strong and massive mobilization of resources, Mali was able to clear out of this Ebola, but every country should take an extremely cautious approach. Now, we realize that when there is a strategy by mobilizing massive resources financially and logistically and medical support, then it has been working, and we have seen some curbing, this bending the curves, but unfortunately this curve has been now taking some steady process. We really want to make this curve a deep downward trend, but I think with all these international communities, a strong support, as well as the countries concerned, the people and government, this united way of addressing this issue, we'll be able to eliminate this Ebola virus as soon as possible. That is our target. And the reason I'm traveling with Director General of WHO, Dr. Margaret Chan, and Dr. David Navarro, and Anthony Bamburi, is that we show our strong support and solidarity to the people and government of this region. It has global implications. It's not country concerned or regional concerns. It is a global concern. This is unprecedented way. And I'd like to also thank you for your Excellency's leadership as a chair of ECOWAS. You convened the ECOWAS summit meeting last month, which served to strengthen the regional resolve and galvanize new supporters. I was encouraged to learn that ECOWAS was deploying several hundred medical professionals, including from Ghana, to the affected countries. I thank you for your continued support, without which much of the response effort would not be possible. I trust I can continue to count on your support over the long term in facilitating the recovery of the region. Moving forward, we must think carefully about how to strengthen the healthcare systems of the countries in the region to withstand the future outbreaks of infectious diseases. I invite Ghana to join the United Nations in this endeavor. As you said, I think we must make sure that the last case of Ebola should be identified and treated and eliminated.
Meanwhile, President John Mahama asked for the United Nations support to help restore the public health systems of the 3 countries most affected by the Ebola virus.
Despite the late start of the international response, once the UN took the leadership and went to the General Assembly and mounted the response, through UNMIR, I think the international response has paid off, and we're beginning to hear some encouraging results for the first time, coming out of the affected countries. And I believe that your coming personally to visit those countries is going to be a very strong sign of encouragement to them. I'd like to commend UNMIR for the very fast deployment that it undertook since the green light was given for this particular UN mission to be held. I'm sure that if you go into the record of deployment, UNMIR would have been one of the fastest deployments of a UN mission ever taken, and I'd like to commend Anthony Bambry and his team for the very, very good work they've done in rolling out the UNMIR response in both the staging country, which is Ghana, and then the other forward bases in all the 3 affected countries. All these have helped to begin to result in a decline in some of the numbers we're seeing, but we're not out of the woods yet. We held an ECOWAS summit where we did an appraisal. We got reports from all the organizations involved in the UN response and also from the countries themselves in respect of what the situation there was. We've also just come from another ECOWAS summit in Abuja, and Ebola was one of the items on the agenda. And we received an update on what has been going on there. And we believe that this is a time for us to push even harder to achieve the new set targets of 100-100, that is 100% of victims in treatment centers and 100% of persons who have died from Ebola buried safely. And all of us in this sub-region will help. It has affected economic prosperity in this sub-region. Most of these countries were recovering from conflict and were beginning to invest in access to social services for their people, including public health, when Ebola struck. One of the tragedies is not only those who died from Ebola, but those who died from other diseases, because there's not even space in medical centers to treat other equally serious ailments. I believe that the UN mission's work would go on even after we've finished the last case of Ebola. The UN mission will still have a role to play in terms of bringing the public health systems of these countries back in a shape that allows it to respond better in future when epidemics like this occur. I also like to, on behalf of the government of Ghana, thank UNMIR for the collaboration we've had in terms of our own response, national response to Ebola. We are lucky we've not had a single incident of Ebola yet, and touch wood, I hope we don't have any incident, but the UN mission has been very helpful and collaborated with our Ministry of Health and the National Response Team to make us ready in the event that there's any case of Ebola. We're also holding our breaths on Mali and hoping that the 42-day mark will pass without any other case so that Mali can be declared officially Ebola-free.
So we can now go to the Baba Yara Stadium, where General Secretary for the National Democratic Congress has been addressing members of the press ahead of the National Delegates Congress tomorrow.
Let me, on behalf of the National Democratic Congress, thank you very much for the keen interest you've shown in the organization of this National Delegates Congress so far. We hope we can count on you for credible reportage to the public going forward. We have called you here to give you an update of the state of preparedness of the National Democratic Congress for tomorrow's event. As you all know, tomorrow would be the 8th National Delegates Congress of the NDC. And in such events, the preparation is normally broken into two main activities. One has to do with the organization of the event itself. So in that area, you are thinking about everything that needs to be done to assemble the delegates and observers at one point for the main activities to take place. So the process of assembling delegates involves a lot of planning and efforts. You are talking about transporting delegates and accredited observers from their various places to the central point of Kumasi, how to accommodate them, and how to give them access to the venue of the main event, how to set up the grounds for the main event, that is where we are standing now, and then how to ensure that you select those who are entitled to enter in the inner perimeter and those who are not. In that area, you are talking about accreditation. And even those who enter, how and where to get them seated so that there is no confusion. And above all, how to ensure that everybody is secured, even as they play the various roles that they have been assigned to. In this direction, I can report to you that arrangement for transportation is 100% completed as we stand here. Buses have been arranged to bring all the delegates from all the corners of the country to Kumasi, and those buses have been fully paid for. And so there is no difficulty at all about transporting delegates to Kumasi, the regional capital of Ashanti. In terms of accommodation, we are about 95% set. We have challenges of securing sufficient hotel rooms. Previously, we've been complementing whatever hotel rooms we have with student accommodation facilities. This year, we decided to try as much as possible to get delegates properly accommodated in hotel rooms, and that has posed a challenge. However, we are about 95% set with all our accommodation arrangements to date. And in that direction, we've invited the regional executive committee members of the various regions. They've come to inspect the facilities, sleeping facilities that have been assigned to delegates from their regions. And so there is not going to be the problem of delegates arriving in buses in the evening or in the night and not knowing which part of Kumasi their hotels are located. We have prepared the grounds here sufficiently. As you can see around, there are a few finishing touches that needs to be put in place, and people are busily working in putting up the various decorations and so on. Delegates are going to use the VIP wing of this Baba Yara Stadium. And so there is a restricted access that will be available to delegates, to members of our Council of Elders, to the diplomatic corps, and then accredited observers. When we talk about observers, there are some who have accreditation tags, and then we have other places for others who don't have accreditation tags, who just want to come and observe proceedings. So if you are in any of these categories, and I want to repeat, delegates, members of our Council of Elders, members of the Diplomatic Corps, and accredited observers. Ministers of State are, of course, delegates, and members of Parliament are also delegates. So these categories of persons are going to enter through the main gate of the Baba Yara Stadium. Those who will come in buses, the buses will drop them at the entrance, and then those who come in their own cars, they will still be dropped at the main entrance, and then they will proceed, the buses will proceed to the Heroes Park. We are trying to get the bus stickers and then car stickers to those people who would have this access of parking at the Heroes Park. Then from there, the persons, accredited persons, will walk through scanners where their accreditation tags, which bear barcodes, will be scanned so that it limits the possibility of infiltrators. And so we will ask everybody to cooperate with us. And it is extremely important that these delegates and accredited observers come along with their accreditation tags, because without the accreditation tags, you will find it impossible to enter. We are urging senior members of the party, delegates, and accredited observers that those who will be keeping the gates have been given strict instructions to not to give in to the normal "do you know me" type of people. Somebody comes without accreditation, and then at the gates he will be arguing whether the person keeping the gates know how important he is.
Good afternoon. Let's talk sports now with me, Baba Tando. Now, the Ministry of Youth and Sports has approved the 2015 sports budget by the National Sports Authority, and the budget is 36 million Ghana cedis. Now, the budget, which is expected to be used to develop sports in the country, will be disbursed to the various sporting associations, including football. Now, the money does not include the Black Stars AFCON 2015 budget, which is yet to be confirmed by the Sports Ministry. According to reports, a large piece of the money will be used for the renovation of the 4 national stadia, namely Kumasi, Accra, Tamale, and Takoradi, which have been in a bad state since construction in 2007. Meanwhile, Ghana's under-20 and under-23 male teams, who are preparing for the 2015 African Youth Championship and All Africa Games respectively, are also expected to get their fair share of the money for the various tournaments. Now, away from that, international businessman and ardent golfer Sir Sam Jonah will chair the 2nd Ghana Golf Awards fixed for Saturday, December 27 at the Trade Fair Center in Accra. Sir Jonah will be among the high-profile personalities expected to grace the 2nd edition of the event, with Ochehene Osajefo Amotial Feripeding the 2nd life patron of the Ghana Golf Awards also attending. In all, 20 golfers will be honored for their distinguished performance in the year 2014. Spokesperson of the organizing committee, Jeffrey Asari, says all is set for the awards.
Golf Awards. We have the Amateur Golfer of the Year. We have the Amateur Female Golfer. We have the male one and the female one. We have the Most Improved Golfer, male and female category. Most Promising Golfer, male and female category. Junior Golfer of the Year, male and female category. Senior Golfer of the Year, male and female category. Professional Golfer of the Year, Golf Personality of the Year is the flagship award, and then Golfer of the Year. So those are the main categories that we are going to have on that day. I wish to say that Primeval Media, we are very proud to say that the Ghana Golf Association have helped us immensely through broad consultation, excellent collaboration without the Ghana Golf Association support, this particular event wouldn't have become a success. And so the Ghana Golf Association deserve a lot of plaudits for their support. Anytime we call on them, they are ready to be there.
Ghana's Wahid Abdul Omar, who won bronze at the 2014 Commonwealth Games in Scotland, has expressed his disappointment at the National Sports Authority and the Ministry of Youth and Sports for refusing to pay him a reward package of $3,000 over 4 months after the Games in Glasgow. Now, Omar, who won a bronze medal in amateur boxing, is frustrated by the delay in paying his money.
Not being paid, I don't understand why it's keeping on like that. And our leader told me that they are still working on it, and I'm not being happy because it keep long. Get it to 4 months. We are not being hear anything good news about our games that we attend. That makes me very, very unhappy. I don't understand. Oh, they told me it's $3,000. Told me that they are still on it, and I'm not being hear any good news on that issue too. I don't understand why they are still keep. It was going to big Commonwealth games like that to achieve something, and you are not being rewarded on that thing that you are achieved to. It's like you are doing nothing because you are sacrificed to doing something, and you are not rewarded on that thing that you are doing. I mean, that make you feel I'm not pity or anything like that. Yeah. The ambition to go to Olympics games to achieve big, something big like this, because going to big games to it's not easy, but we pray my ambition to attend Olympics game to win a medal. Yeah.
And quickly before I go, Ghana could engage herself in a pre-tournament friendly against Tunisia before the 2015 Africa Cup of Nations. Now, according to reports, the Black Stars have been shortlisted by the Tunisian FA as one of the potential opponents to face the Carthage Eagles in a high-profile friendly match before next month's AFCON tournament in Equatorial Guinea. The North African side have been drawn in Group B alongside Zambia, Cape Verde, and DR Congo. Ending this week's edition of Sports on News Today with me, Baba Tando. Kemini Nyamani Yamano returns with the rest of the news, including updates from Kumasi. Have a good afternoon.